I always go into sessions like that a little bit sort of cautious and take everything with a bit of a grain of salt, not really expecting much. But what I did in the session with Demi is that we sorry, I'll just answer some questions in the chat. Oh, am I signed to a label, Just Henry? I am. Yes, I'm signed to a label. Inertia, or formerly known as Inertia, now known as PIAS. Yes, they have signed me, and I am signed to their label, and they've been releasing all my singles and are releasing my album next month. So yeah, basically, as I was saying, I think it was my publisher. I'm signed to BMG Publishing, and they put me in a room with Demi, and I was like, basically, Demi came over, and I was like, okay, let's write some music. I knew that she was a songwriter, like she wrote top lines, melodies, and I was like, I agreed to do the session because I'd heard the stuff that she'd written, and I was very impressed. And I was like, let's see what comes of this. So I we started out just messing around with other stuff, like showing some random other beat ideas and demos. Nothing was really flowing, but then I was like, I've got this other idea that I've been sort of casually working on, and it was this. It was an early version of this song, and I showed that to her, and she immediately started vibing with it, like started getting ideas and singing little vocal ideas and stuff, and so we kind of ran with that, which wasn't the anticipated outcome of the session, but that's never, it's never you never anticipate what's going to happen in these sessions. Pardon me. So that's what we did, and she ended up contributing a lot of the melodic stuff that you hear in like the bridge and the pre-chorus of this song. And maybe even some of the verses too, and like some of the stuff in the outro. So basically the vocal melodies and the composition of this song, specifically vocally, melodically, is a collaboration between myself, Fresh Hex, and Demi Louise. We all, at various different points in time, contributed our ideas. Now, I did all the production, and I did all the chords and all the drums and all the guitars and all the like singing and recording and engineering and all of that. But I wouldn't have been able to do all of that without having good, solid musical ideas from both of those individuals. So we thank them. And yeah, that's kind of the story of how the song came to be. Now let's maybe go over some individual elements of this. As we go, I can kind of point out which ideas were contributed from who, and like a little bit as best as I can possibly remember. We'll sort of talk about how the composition came to be. Now this intro part. I believe. Oh, 1 second. I'm going to go grab the instrument that I used. This guy. You see that? I'm just trying to see if it's on camera. This is the Yamaha Reface CS. It's a cool little Yamaha keyboard. Like a very, very like cool, basic, small like synth. Basically, it's meant to sound like a classic old like Yamaha CS series synthesizer. Anyway, they re-released this like in a small version, and I got it because I thought it was really cool. Yes, and Zeal, it is reversed. So, I mean, I could just unreverse it now to show you what it originally sounded like. How do you freaking do it in this new Ableton? There it is. So yeah, I recorded this little ding, 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 little melodic line. That's what it sounds like forwards. And that does exist forwards in somewhere later in the song. In the melodic stuff, I think. Like that, the forwards version also exists. Yeah, it's somewhere, I think. Anyway, So I kind of like the texture of that. And the reason it starts so abruptly at the start there, you'll see it like just starts like from nothing, is because this is a little teaser. Spoiler alert. The song that precedes this on the album ends with that same sound. So we've got a seamless transition from that song to this song. I hope that bacon tastes good. All these 80s synths, you love this? I mean, 80s synths are a vibe. That's what we do. That's what we do here on the Wave Racer program. So yes, that's a very simple thing. I recorded it. I can't remember exactly how I did it. I used the CS thing. Let's continue. There you go. There's the forwards version. And of course, there's a bunch of other like pretty. There's like an electric piano doing the main. Dun, 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 dun. So this stem here is kind of all the keyboards and like synth parts. Yeah, so this is like all the synth and chords. Your friend Gus, thank you so much for following. Welcome to the stream. Just Henry, random question, but on this song and even possibly lots of the album, are you mainly using physical instruments, synths, guitars, drums, etc., or digital ones, plugins? It's a combination of both. It's a very healthy combination of both. I have definitely started to incorporate a lot more physical analog instrumentation in the music now, but that doesn't mean I'm not using digital stuff just as much. I definitely rely heavily on digital instruments. You know, I use all the like the Arturia stuff and loads of virtual instruments, sample packs, all that kind of stuff. So it's about finding a healthy balance. But I do find the physical stuff to be a lot more inspiring, especially with getting started with ideas sometimes. I still use Vital. I haven't used Vital in a long time. I've kind of switched over to Phase Plant. I really like Phase Plant. Voicing chords is the most elusive thing to you. QN, hi, buddy. Welcome to the Wave Racer program. Thanks for the follow, Slingshot77 and C9 Dayun. Thank you so much. Yeah, Phase Plant's great. Now, that being said, what we're looking at here is obviously this stem is multiple layers of synths and chords combined. So, I mean, it's kind of difficult for me to go through every single layer. But I can tell you that there's a lot of combinations of... So, this guy is actually part of a series. It's part of a series of synths called the Reface series. This is the Reface CS. There is also the Reface DX, which is the DX7 version. And there's the Reface YC, which is the tone wheel organ version. And the other one is the Reface CP, which is the electric piano version, which I do not have. I used to have the DX. So what I have is I have the CS and I have the YC, which is the organ. And I used to have the DX, which I recently sold because I wasn't using it, and because I already have a very good DX7 plugin, which basically does exactly the same thing, plus a lot more. Now, when I was creating this song, I did use the DX one, so you can hear in some of the bass lines. So that phasery bass line in the back, that one there, that's actually the DX instrument. Unfortunately, I sold it because I had to buy some other exciting stuff. But it's basically, you know, it's no different than using a DX7 running through a phaser. So, when in your life did you figure out music would be the career path you'd follow? Probably like age 12. Crazy how things I didn't hear in the full song. Yeah, that's the thing about stems. I find stems very interesting in that regard, because when you combine everything, when you combine every element in a song, it becomes a new entity, a whole new beast. So, I actually encourage people to not get too caught up in the details of like fine tuning little tiny elements in the song, because a lot of the times when you put it in context, none of that matters. You know what I mean? Like, yes, of course, mixing stuff is important and making sure that, every sound is crafted appropriately, but always try to place it in context, have some perspective.
Oh, what I miss.
Sorry, wrong stem. This is... So we're hearing electric piano, plus some of the analog synth stuff. That's more stuff from the CS. That's the noisy... DX7 or Juno, both. They're very, very different. I use both for various things. I don't have a physical version of either, but I use plugins for both. The Arturia plugins for both are really, really good. So that like synth pad thing in the background is probably just like Serum. I think it's just Serum. And then the glassy thing on top is, I think, another electric piano layer. Like I use a plugin called Lounge Lizard, which is a physical modeling synth for electric piano. Same one I used here. I used multiple layers of electric piano for the chords. Some analog synth stuff. Arturia Gang Gang. Here we go. So this is the pre-chorus here.
I'm on it because I'm...
So we're hearing, more synth and electric piano kind of carrying the chord progression. Little lullaby tone around there. But of course we've got this guitar stuff coming in, and we've got bass. Let's have a listen to some of those other layers. So that's, like a distorted, overdriven guitar with some chorus. Sort of creates this like wishy-washy texture. Some more layers there. So the chorus, everything kind of switches up. But what else have we got here in this pre-chorus? The bass. So there's quite a few different bass layers too. I think that 80s sort of like wow bass is just like a Serum patch. This is bass guitar. This is a real bass guitar. Overdriven, some like pedals and amps and stuff. So what kind of bass? I use a jazz bass. I really want to get a P bass, but I don't have the money for it yet. So I'm using my jazz bass for everything at the moment. So basically, like, I think conceptually what I was thinking is I wanted the song to have a moment where it switched from being fully electronic to having real guitars and shit. So basically this is that moment right here. There's a little bit of bullshit over here, but like when this real electric bass comes in, you hear the guitar come in too. Things start to get a little bit more organic. And then when the chorus kicks in, so here we've got...
I'm still waking up at 3 a.m.
Full on electric bass slide. So really fuzzy bass guitar there. Plus that phasery DX7 patch I mentioned earlier. Pachelbel's canon progression. So that's like the backbone. And then obviously on top of that, we've got our so the phaser effect is something I kind of ran with on this song too. You can hear it in the guitar as well. Now, that being said, this guitar part is highly like chopped and edited together, which I had to edit it together. Like originally when I recorded the guitar, I had it like going like ding 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 every single time, and it was going up and doing more embellishments and stuff. But I decided I really had to strip it back because there was other details that were not complementing the details in the guitar, so I had to kind of strip it back to this. Just those two notes mostly. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's overdriven. I'm pretty sure I used my Kemper for sure. I don't know. I can't remember which guitar I used. It might have been my Jag or my Telly. But yeah, running it through some overdrive, probably the Klon and like some other overdrives, and then yeah, a phaser, a Kemper phase, like the Kemper stock modulation effects are great. Then more like tinny octaves. You can hear that in the pan to the right. So that's really crunchy. So you can hear like each guitar part has its own texture. I'm not using the same tonal sound for each part because I want them to be very separate. They're all playing different roles. Little guitar slide there. And of course by itself it doesn't really sound good, but when you add the progression in. The bass is where the vibe comes from. You're absolutely right. Kickstarter to get you the bass. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to... I mean, maybe my album can be the Kickstarter. If you guys buy the album, then I can afford my P-Bass. 100% recommended looking at starting a Patreon where you post exclusive tutorials on the more technical details of your work. I know a lot of producers would be very keen on getting general music theory tips on how to implement it in electronic music. I agree. A few things about that is that there's a lot of that stuff already out there by much more professional, like teaching people. I'm not really a teacher by trade, and I don't know if I have the authority or the resources to create content at that level because I'm trying to still also be an artist. But yeah, I mean, I know that that's a very lucrative line of work, and I would be interested in doing that for sure. I just don't know. Like, I much prefer like the casual sort of setup. But yeah, no, 100%. I'm more than qualified to do that. Layering seems to be the name of game production. That is very true. 100% true. Sounds like a Jag? Yeah, it could be the Jag. I'm pretty sure I had the Jag around this time. Good to go. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruben Cable. Thank you for joining. Thank you again for the video. I'm going to just quickly sort out the volume discrepancy in that video, and then at the moment I've unlisted it, but it's going to be back up. Don't you worry about it. Thank you again, Ruben. We love you so much. Is that the jazz you played on Triple J, the Jag? Yeah, that I only have that one Jag. So yeah, that would be the Jag if it is that one. I don't know if you guys noticed, but every time you type the word album in the chat, it gives you a pre-order link. That's a little hint there. We'd love to see that. Let's continue, shall we? Let's listen to some more stuff.
Been dreaming about you again.
Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff here in the chords. Dun, 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 dun. I think I might have used my Prophet 6 for that. Dun, 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 dun. Or something similar. And it was definitely an external, like, analog synth. still the electric piano behind there as well. Love those harmonies at the end. Seems like a 10. Seems like a 10. It seems like a 10. Seems like a 10. Seems like a 10. It seems like a 10. Seems like a 10. Seems like a 10. It seems like acoustic version, or just turn the drum group off and yeet it onto SoundCloud. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. I think for my live versions of these songs, I'm definitely going to be making some arrangements which are along those lines, you know, like long extended intros without any drums, slowly bringing in the chord progression, that kind of fun stuff. I mean, it's classic, typical stuff, but it's effective. Why don't we listen to the drums? I hope I'm not glossing over things too quickly. I mean, you know, I'm trying to not get caught up in the tiny details and kind of give as much insight as I possibly can into the overall, you know, song's composition. But I am, you know, I'm touching on everything I'm hearing. Okay, we'll do the vocal later. So at the end here, like, you can kind of hear. So that dung 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 only comes in like halfway through the song. So the first chorus is actually the very chilled out chorus, and that heavy chorus only happens twice in the second half of the song.
Still, the nice the taste of your lips when on it, because I'm drowning in dreams if I'm honest.
Please come to Sydney and play Live King. I'll empty my wallet for that show. I've already got a show booked for December. You can buy tickets right now. Well, the only thing is we don't know if you know, it's dependent on the pandemic, but it's already been it's been postponed twice. It was originally happening in July, then it was happening in August or September or some shit, and now it's happening in December. So yes, long delayed, but the tickets are out there. You can buy tickets right now if you go to my website. You can get them.
On it, because I'm drowning in dreams if I'm on it.
Maybe we'll have a look at the drums. Pretty simple drums in this one, to be honest. I know I say that every time, but it's true. I think I might have used my TRS-8. Let me grab that. So, I can't 100% confirm, but it sounds like what I did was I used this guy. This is my TRS-8 drum machine, Roland TRS-8. Sorry for that. Basically, it's like an 808, a 909, a 707, a 606, all in one. So if you're a Roland drum machine fan, this is all of them in one go, plus a lot more. Plus it's got like a bunch of other crap in it. Really good effects, really good programmability, everything. I like this as my like go-to drum machine, and yes, it is like fully physical. It's not analog, it's digital, but like sometimes it's a lot more intuitive than like using a mouse to click and point. So, like you can literally like tune the drum with knobs and stuff. It's like a bit more fun and tactile. So I think I might have used that for the drum, but what I would have done is I would have programmed in like a basic beat and then recorded each drum sound individually and then mixed it in Ableton, like using software to make it sound beefier and stuff. So that's what it sounds like to me. Because it's like very well mixed. Early time to ask you, do you think you'll have any shows in the States? Well, I'm looking for maybe next year to do that. Yeah. Yeah, at the moment, we can't really leave the country, unfortunately. And that is out of my control. Got him. Thank you, Wave Meow. That's very sweet of you. So yeah, pretty standard shit there. It's a kick, a snare, and a clap, and a hi-hat. There's a bit of bit crushing on the top end of the kick there, you can hear. A rim shot. That probably wasn't from the drum machine, it's probably a sample. I do like the impact of that snare. It's probably like a 707 snare or something like that. Maybe a DMX. Simple yet effective. That's literally it, guys. That's the whole drums. How exciting is that? Need a wave race and noisy techno song. Maybe I'll give that a try. Only the beefiest snares. Exactly right. Did you bit crush the kick for artistic reasons or for punch on bad playback systems? I think I just liked the texture it added. I wasn't really thinking about playback so much, just as like, well, I guess just what the kick itself sounded like, because, I think without the bit crushing, you weren't hearing as much of that crunchy, nice top end, and I wanted a bit more top end come through, and I think a bit crusher is a good way of doing that. Kind of adds like a digital distortion on the top end. So yeah, that's why I did it, I think. That's why I would usually do that. So I guess you could call that artistic reasons or like engineering reasons. It's quite subtle. You really have to listen to it loud to even hear it. I love looking at the waveform for kicks and snares. Just like very satisfying to me. And you can see here, like that's the snare, and then there's a little bit of a clap that comes like maybe like 10 or 12 milliseconds earlier. 8 milliseconds, there you go. It kind of gives that like textural sort of flam effect. And then adds that layer on top of the snare. Classic electro effect. Are there any new updated audio effects you're excited about in Live 11? I really like the new chorus and phaser and flanger effects. Those are really cool. I also really like the spectral stuff and the hybrid reverb. Seems really cool. I've been using that a little bit. Cool, that's the drums. How exciting is that, guys? And this song doesn't even really have much like effects or like ear candy stuff either. It's basically just like a noise sweep, a reverse chime sweep thingy, another noise sweep, and another noise sweep. Like pretty simple. Yeah, hybrid reverb's really cool. Have you got the 80s retro future drum pack? I can't even remember where I got it, but it's free and the snares are so good. I don't know if I have that particular one, but I have something similar that sounds exactly like that. Like a pack full of really, really beefy like snares and toms that sound like they're straight from the 80s, like a Genesis studio session. Any plans for releasing stems or remix contests? I would like to try and think about that. I haven't got any solid plans for that yet, but that's a good idea. And I think that was discussed with the label at some point too. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm glad you like the Splice Pack, Zeal. Thank you so much. It was a fun one to make. Yeah, my Splice Pack is, go get it. Go get that pack. But I think there's a way to get free credits, by the way. Like if you sign up, there's certain ways to sign up and get free Splice credits, so you don't even have to like pay. But I still get paid because if you use Splice credits to buy my samples, that goes towards my account. When's your bot going to post a Splice link when I say Splice? That's a good question. I have not set that up yet. My apologies. But if you use Google and search Wave Racer Splice, you'll probably find it in about 0.7 seconds. We love Genesis at this stream. You wrote your music history class essay on Genesis snares. That's awesome. Gated reverb snare. Does not get better than that. I use gated reverb, even used very subtly on pretty much every snare now. It's just such an awesome effect. Do record labels generally pay you any sort of salary, or is it all initial investment plus sales? They don't pay salary. I've never heard of that. They might give you an advance, like to cover certain living expenses. Like maybe a portion of the advance that they pay you might be for like, you know, just general living while you make the album. But they certainly don't pay a salary. No. And the advance is usually, the way it works is they'll give you an advance, but then it's just a loan. So you have to pay, all the money that they give you for the advance has to be recouped through the sales of the album before you even see any more money. So like, let's say someone has let's just speak figuratively, a label will give you $100 to say, make an album with $100. It's usually a lot more than $100, but yes, you know. We'll be like, make an album with $100, but we're not going to give you any more money until the album makes $100. That's basically the gist of it. And then it's obviously split. Any profits are split between you and the label too. When the snare go donk, the song is good. That's facts. Does this snare go donk? It's pretty donkular. Donk. All right. What have we not had to listen to yet? I think with these ones, I think I just listened to I pressed record at the start of the song while I was like noodling on guitar, and I just played like random stuff, like random like long notes as like background texture. And then I would have just like done that for the entirety of the song and then picked out a few that I really liked and kind of used them more like an effect. Because these don't happen anywhere else in the song. These just exist in that first chorus.
It gets as hard and as cold as cement.
Yes, it's absolutely a slogfest. Here's the thing, guys. Now, this is important to know. Artists at my level, and that means like someone who's releasing their first album with on an independent label, no major label support, and who basically is only not really doing shows because it's expensive to do shows and we're in a pandemic. Let me tell you something. Artists do not make money. I can tell you that there is no money to be made in being an artist right now. That's just the sad reality. I'm not making any money. I'm on government benefits, guys. This is just the way it works right now. The music industry has not caught up to being financially viable for artists. It just is not. Obviously, that doesn't apply to every artist. Lil Nas X is rich because he's the biggest artist in the world. Billie Eilish is rich because she's the biggest artist in the world. You know? Independent artists who are making music by themselves in their bedrooms and who don't have major label support and record and like mainstream support, they might make a bit of money here and there from like a sync or like a really big festival show or something. But there is no money to be made from like even if you sell hundreds or thousands of copies of your album, that might pay your rent for like a month or two. That's just the sad reality. Anyway, we love Lil Nas X. We adore Lil Nas X. This stream is actually a Lil Nas X stan account now. But the point is, he's making money because he's the biggest artist in the world. Trouble Music, welcome. Do you think great music cannot be denied for success, or is it all really the marketing that matters? Oh, that's an impossible question to answer. I think I've slowly come to be cynically aware that, unfortunately, even the greatest music needs some sort of marketing and PR behind it. Otherwise, people will not hear it. That's just the truth. And Kenny Beats has spoken about this as well, I know. You can be the most creative, unique, unafraid, fearless artist in the world, but if people don't hear what you're making, and if your stuff doesn't like pop up in people's lives and give them some sort of reason to be interested, it will just fall by the wayside, unfortunately. So yeah, but that's the other thing with a record label, is that a lot of what they're paying for is actually just publicity and PR. A huge chunk of what the record label pays for is distribution and PR. So that means getting the music into the people's ear holes by whatever means necessary. That's pretty much their job. The production of my actual album was all paid for by me. Like, I self-funded my own studio. I created all the music myself, my own time. There was no funding for that. The funding from the label goes towards distribution, PR, music video costs, artwork, art direction, things like that. Anyway.
The weakness in my will to resist.
Oh yeah, we haven't had to listen to the vocal yet. So obviously we've got the vocal here, which is separated into dry. There's the dry vocal, and then we've got some... Oh, I forgot about these extra percussion layers. Let's have a look at that too. So I guess that even though we're speaking about the drums being really, really simple, there is these like top end percussion layers on top that are bringing quite a bit of life as well. I like that actually, it's quite cool. Some shakers and like some TikToks. Tambourine. Cymbals, there we go. That really does a lot. Oh yeah, there's that too. Yes, Lil Nas X is a marketing genius. It's absolutely... I mean, he's an artistic genius too, I would say, but absolutely is a marketing and media genius. Some cymbals, high-end cymbals. I quite like that like echo crash cymbal, like really distorted through like a tape echo. It's cool. You want to take a shot at some viral marketing someday, make some physical stickers, just very legally stick them all over Sydney and see what happens. In my honest opinion, I don't think that would be very effective for you. You might get a little bit of like curious attention towards you, but it's you wouldn't be the first person to stick stickers and flyers all over the place. It would be a nice experiment to conduct, though. All right. So, as I was saying, the lead vocal here.
And I'm still trying to get you out.
We've got the dry vocal, which is...
And I'm still trying to get you out of my head.
And when I say dry, that just means no modulation effects. This dry vocal has still been auto-tuned to death, comped, edited, EQ'd, compressed, saturated, chopped, and everything you can possibly imagine. you know. Oh, Sex just tipped $3.33. You're absolute legend. Thank you so much. What a tip-top thing to do. Thank you so much. So
At 3 a.m.
as I was saying, yeah, lots of auto-tune. I mean, yes, I've auto-tuned the shit out of my vocals and, you know, sorry, pardon me.
Cause I've been dreaming about you again.
And you can hear the compression there. I've EQ'd it. So all the like engineering stuff has already been printed into this vocal. Like I EQ'd everything to make it sit nicely in the way that I wanted to, and you know, multiband compression and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, what you're hearing in terms of the splits between dry and all of that, dry and wet, is just the different layers. So we've got the dry lead vocal,
No malicious room and
and then we've got the effects. So this is 100% just reverb, chorus, modulation, delay, all that kind of stuff. In this stream, we love autotune. That is facts. So you can hear all that backgroundy beautifulness, make it sit in a space. Now, there's an artistry to that in itself, like just crafting the reverb space. I find that to be a very time-consuming and tedious thing to get it right, but when you do get it right, it's so fantastic.
you strike the weakness in my will to resist. Then there's the taste of your
I actually do think sampling effects tracks are really cool.
about your new boy.
Like there's so many cool like ambient reverb layers and stuff, like little snippets here that you could use in another song. And I'm all about resampling myself as well. So like maybe I will use some samples from here in a future song.
Do I
And then we've got our backing vocals here. So we've got lead vocal, backing vocal, and Vox return effects, which is just the effects. So now you'll hear in the effects layer, you'll hear a combination of the lead and the backing in there because both of them are being sent to the effects.
because I'm dreaming about you again.
Thank you, Sex Me. I really appreciate the donation and your kind words, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the music, and I can't wait for the world to hear the album. Thank you for the follow, JMB Prod. Ooh, Laszlo, thank you for the tip, $10.28. You guys are very generous. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And as I said, you can sub to the channel too, if that's another way you want to support, and you do get benefits from that because in the future I am going to be like, and you can even access them now. There's some previous streams I did where there's some samples I made live on stream. If you sub, you get access to that through the Discord. That stuff is still there, and I'm going to be doing more of that. So if you do want to sub, that stuff does exist for you as well. If you want to get a little return for your investment there. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the support.
Waking up at 3 a.m. Cause I've been dreaming about I do this. Why do I well, I'm on it.
Any chance of getting access to the stems to do some remixes with sampling? I'm going to look into this. I do like that idea a lot. And I am going to look into that. For sure. Stay tuned. If anything like that happens, I'll announce it on, social media and stuff. So just have a look. Chubba, thank you for the sub. Thank you so much. My soundboard thing is not set up, so I would normally trigger the air horn effect right about now, or the crowd like cheering sound effect. But for now, we'll have to just do it analog. Thank you so much. Have you watched the Mark Ronson miniseries, Watch the Sound? It's got a really cool episode on autotune that's super interesting. I haven't watched that, but I love Mark Ronson.
I do this.
So the backing vocals are basically just acting as harmonies.
excuse.
So you can hear the harmony layers there
Distraction from my issues.
in context.
Such a
This is the bridge section of the song.
Such a distraction from my issues. But a reasonable excuse.
Call and response type of thing.
Tell me why would I choose to function like I used to with you.
And yeah, we've got distortion here.
Choose to function like I used to with you.
Little textural differentiation between the bridge and chorus.
I'm still waking.
Oh, you hear a little auto-tune glitch there?
I'm still.
You can't hear it in the mix though.
I'm still
I think the reverb and stuff sort of smooths it out.
I'm still waking up at 3 a.m. 'Cause
I like this in the backing vocal layer.
waking up at 3 a.m.
So I recorded the harmonies, but they weren't sitting right. So what I used Sound Toy's little alter boy to lower the formant of the backing vocal layer there. So it sounds like someone who has a deeper voice than me is actually doing the backing harmony, which I think kind of creates a bit more of a nice texture. So instead of hearing direct duplicates of my voice, it actually sounds like I have a different voice singing the backing.
Still waking up at 3 a.m.
I think I quite like that trick on backing vocals.
I better get to sleep soon.
I do it all the way through the song, actually.
With you.
You can hear the formants has been lowered on the harmonies.
A reasonable excuse. About your new boyfriend.
There as well.
I know about your new boyfriend.
Yeah.
I know about your new boyfriend. I know about your new
Actually, I also think I did a little cheating here. Let me think.
I know about your new
Where it goes up.
about your new
About your new. I didn't actually sing the high note there. I think what I did originally is I recorded about your new. I went about your new boyfriend. I went about your new boyfriend.
about your new boy.
But I pitched it up so it went about your new. So that last note, it was originally about your new, and then I pitched it up to new because I liked how it went up instead of going down again. So I sort of cheated there and did a little bit of syllabic editing.
New boyfriend.
But I could definitely recreate it live, but I think that sort of experimentation with the melody, the fact that the technology allows me to do that is kind of benefits the composition overall.
Said, I know about your new boyfriend.
Plus it sounds relatively natural anyway. Can't wait to watch this tomorrow, but checking in quickly to send my love to the chat. Thank you, Beast Coast. Welcome, and I hope you have a lovely day or night. The harmony's so cool. I really love processed harmonies. My fave is tuning a double line to a single note. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, like using autotune to make everything a single note, and then, yeah, kind of like a pedal note, if you will. Globular Blooms, when you autotune, do you program the melody in MIDI, or do you tell it the key and fluctuate between notes with your voice? Oh, no, I don't program the melody with MIDI or anything like that. I mean, that can be done, but I use that more as like a vocoder effect if I'm doing that. With autotune, I sing the melody, and then I put the key in of the song that I'm singing, and just adjust the settings so it sounds the way I want it to. Like, because you can make autotune sound really natural or really, really robotic if you want to, and I try to find that balance so that it sounds in tune and natural without sounding too robotic. But yeah, autotune is very good at doing that. You just put in the key and sing. Turner Rock, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining.
Trying to get you out.
What we touched on here is this return stem is like a instrument effects, so like kind of like room reverbs and things like that. So basically in the mix process, you can set up these return channels and have like, if you want, if there's a particular synth layer or guitar layer that's sounding a little bit too dry and too mechanical or whatever, sometimes a good trick is to like whack some return effects on it. So you can create a sense of space in a mix by putting like a room reverb and then having certain elements of your mix being sent to that room, almost like it's acting like a chamber or something in an old studio. And So yeah, what's been done here is you can hear that's being sent to a reverb here. Kind of makes it sound like it's being played in a hall or a venue. It's subtle. That's very dry without it. Bit of flanger there. It helps to add some texture to like the to the overall feel of the production, because like, you know, we've got these instruments front and center, but then because you're sending the vocals to reverb, so it kind of makes sense that you want to have some of the instruments also sitting in a reverberating space. It's just like a psychoacoustic thing. Kind of helps the brain feel more comfortable listening to it, I think. Why does that sound like Kahoot? I don't know what that is. Can you group return effects in Ableton? Would be super helpful. No, you can't group them, but you can send them to buses, which is what I do. So you can send return effects into like their own bus groups. So it's a very similar thing to grouping them, but you just have to do it the old-fashioned way. And that's pretty much the song, guys. If you guys have anything that you wanted me to touch on or like look over or explain that I haven't really done yet, please let me know now. And then we'll have a very short break, and then we'll move on to Look Up to Yourself, which is the other song that we haven't covered on stream yet, but I'm planning on doing right now. So please let me know. Kahoot is a website people use to create tests, quizzes, and it has a funky music theme. Oh, okay, cool. The toy piano really reminds me of Please Be Naked, I Like It When You Sleep. Ah, nice. I mean, I love that reference in that band, obviously. No denying that. Cool. I'm gonna have a quick 2-minute ad break. I'm sorry, guys. We need to run some ads because I need to have some water and check my messages, and then we're gonna jump into the other project file for Look Up to Yourself. Last chance to send in your questions, concerns, notes, points, feedbacks. Thanks, guys. Back in a minute. We're back. Hope you guys enjoyed the ads. It's weird because I just sit here in silence while the ads are playing. But yeah. Look Up to Yourself is the song you found me through. Thanks, man. That's cool. It's interesting to see that some people know me from like 2015 and some people are just hearing about me now. We're all welcome here though. And you know, I mean, it's interesting to me, and I mean, it's very awesome to me that there are people who are finding me through the music I'm doing now and appreciating it in the same way that people who have discovered me earlier are appreciating it, because they're very different. There's a big sonic shift between the two things. So I like to see how the two sort of cohorts of like fans and audience people in this community are like appreciating and interpreting my music. It's a really interesting thing, and I love talking to you guys about it. Yeah, Flash Drive EP was back in 2015. Yeah, there's some singles and remixes in 2014. Yeah, I mean, I've lived in Melbourne since 2016, but I am actually from Sydney. I'm originally from Sydney, so I have lived there my whole life until I moved here in 2016. You've just joined the Wave Racer fandom and you love it. Thank you so much, Wack1101. We love that. I love that so much. Welcome to the stream. Delbuster here because of Secret Sky and Auto. That's so sick. Thank you. Welcome. Wait, do you have a name for your fans? No, I don't, but I'm open to suggestions. Auto is like my favorite song I've discovered this year. Thank you so much. I'd really like to hear about your songwriting process sometime. Yeah, I mean, I kind of touch on that a little bit when I go over these song breakdowns. It's always some weird thing to talk about because it is really a different, like it's different every time. But yeah, the racers. Yeah, I like that. No, it's kind of corny to have a name for the fans, isn't it? Like, if anything, I can't be the one to come up with that. Like, it would be so self-obsessed for me to come up with a name for my own fans. That has to be something that is organically generated from you guys in the community. Otherwise, it's got an icky feeling associated with it. But let's go back over to Ableton. So here are the stems for "Look Up to Yourself." Um, this is a bit more of a lively song. There's a little bit more going on in terms of production, but at the end of the day, we're still talking about similar sort of sound palette: guitars, synths, bass, drums. Would you ever do a VIP project? I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean by VIP project? Oh, like a project of me doing VIP edits and remixes and stuff? I'm not sure. I'm gonna click play on the song. And as per tradition on this channel, we're gonna listen, and you guys are gonna send in any questions and or comments and or things you would like me to talk about. I do really like this song. So yeah, here we go. Look Up to Yourself. Here it is, guys. There it is. Up to yourself. While we were listening to that, I accidentally refreshed my page and all the chat before the refreshing disappeared. And I wish that didn't happen. Like, I wish I could still see the old messages that were there before the refresh, but unfortunately I cannot. So apologies if you sent something during that, because I can't see it anymore. So feel free to resend anything that was sent during the song playing. Send it again. You have my permission. So yeah, that's the song. I really like this song. It's really fun. It was, I think for a long time, it was probably my favorite one on the album, but I think that my favorite may have changed. But we can talk more about that later. Someone said, I remember one of the intro sound. Yes, they were Divorce Papers. Is the intro sound made with the reface CS as well? No. Good question, though. The intro is a combination of things. That's a Prophet 6. Because I originally had a different synth, like a cheaper, like crappier sounding synth as the intro there. But then during the process of finishing the song, I actually acquired a Prophet 6. So I decided to use that because it's way cooler. But then there's a few layers that come in. So that's the Prophet 6 too. I think the high stuff is not the Prophet. I can't actually remember what that is. It's some sort of digital synth, I think. Or maybe the Korg Minilog, or maybe it is the CS. But that's beside the point, because the majority of what you're hearing here is the Prophet.
Everybody's
I do like the guitars in this one. Some interesting stuff there in the guitar. So let's play the guitar and the bass at the same time. So if we solo the bass. Now this is a real bass guitar, by the way. So, you know, that's the bass line. Bit of fuzz, well, not fuzz, but bit of like overdrive. But you can hear in the guitar layers, what I did is actually doubled the bass line with the guitar, and then I like octave down pitched the guitar as well. So you can hear the bass line in the guitar part as well, like in the harmonies. So it's really kind of chunky low end going on here. Plus the high end, the funky strumming. What I use to process my guitars. So basically all the guitars are recorded through my Kemper profiling amp, which is just basically an amp sim kind of thing. So has any amp you could ever want is in there. And it has a bunch of effects and stuff. I use a lot of pedals. So I'm using analog pedals like various overdrives, choruses, fuzzes, modulation, things like that. And then I also want, so basically the guitar goes through the pedal into the Kemper, processed in the Kemper using the amp simulation plus more effects and whatever. Then I record that into the Ableton, and then I'll just basically mix them in Ableton, and I'll often do a lot of double tracking. So the guitar parts will be recorded twice or more, and then layered, panned, etc. So you're hearing layers of guitars, but also, you know, I'm using like 1070, like Neve 1073 preamps to like emulate the effect of recording through like an analog preamp and all that kind of stuff, and then mixing room reverbs, more modulation, things like that, a lot of panning. How long did it take you to get a spot for being able to sing in your own work? Very long time. Guys, I'm vegan. I'm also vegan. Not sure if that's a well-known fact or not, but there it is. How long did it take? A very long time. A lot of time and energy was put into figuring out how to use my voice. And that doesn't just include singing, but also writing and performing lyrics and melody in a way that was suitable to my character and my artistic project. And that includes like engineering the vocals, how I want to produce them, how I want them to sound, what their purpose is, what I'm saying, why I'm saying it. There's a lot of nuance when it comes to this stuff, and that took me a long time to figure out. But it was absolutely worthwhile.
But looks can be deceiving. You won't ever.
So Left Behind, which you've already heard, if a lot of you would have heard, it's the first song that, it's like, no, not the first song from the album that you heard, but one of them. That was probably the first song that I like comfortably sang. So I had some other songs before that I used my voice on that never got, like, so Auto, for example, has my voice, but it's highly modulated and affected. But I did some other demos where I was singing more naturally, but they were like, I never finished them really because they were hard. I couldn't really, it was still in the experimentation process of figuring out how to make my voice work. So Left Behind is kind of the first example of me actually successfully figuring out how to do that. So, that song holds a place in my heart in that respect.
Something to believe in.
So yeah, we've got the bass here, and then let's have a listen to when it hits the chorus. Do you remember if you came up with the chord progression or the melody first? Definitely the chord progression. I think I probably came up with even something simpler than that, like the bass line first. I think I wrote the bass line for this one first. Grimescribe, thank you. And it would have been, I think I wrote the chorus first. Turnerock asks, when you're mixing drums in relationship to synths, guitars, and bass, do you make it a goal to mix elements higher or lower in the mix as well as left and right? Like if we're thinking of a compass, do you ever try to mix elements north and south, if that makes sense? If so, any basic fundamental techniques to dedicating space to certain elements? Absolutely. Yeah, you kind of have to think in 3D. Left and right is probably less important than higher or lower. Like we're talking like level and presence. We're kind of getting into mixing talk here, but there's a few different spectrums you have to think of. There's the level amplitude spectrum, which is something's volume, so how loud or quiet something is. Then there's, like you said, there's the panning, so that's left and right, how far across to the sides is it? And in that, there's also mid-side, which is the relationship between what's in the middle versus what is in the sides, and that's a whole other topic. So that's the stereo field question. But then there's also the frequency spectrum. So you have to think about bright versus dark, low frequency versus high frequency. So you're really thinking in all directions, And that's very important. And drums take up, if you're working with like a full-on drum kit or like an array of percussions plus drums, you'll have to be thinking about all of those things because you've got your kick in the low end, which needs to be low and center, and then you've got your high end percussions and which will sort of be high and mid frequency content. And yeah, it's an endless rabbit hole, and there's so many different ways, and you can completely change the sound, change how a percussion layer sounds simply by how you mix it. It can give you a completely different vibe, completely different emotional impact. So very important stuff, I find. Advice for getting a good amount of bass and having it sit well with the kick. I always have it either too loud or too quiet. That's a hard one. The mix between bass and kick is always something that people have trouble with. I think basically you need to have so kicks will always have sort of a resonant low frequency that there's kind of the fundamental essentially. So like a kick is a short bass sound. So there's always going to be something in the kick that kind of resonates at a peak level. So what you can do is try to take that out of the bass. So like allow the kick to have its own little reserved frequency area. For example, if you've got a kick that's resonating at 50 hertz or 60 hertz, let's say 50 hertz, then maybe you want to remove 50 hertz from your bass line a little bit. But there are other things you can do too. You can do ducking. You can do, if you apply more saturation and harmonics to the bass, you can afford to take out more low end from the bass because you get the psychoacoustic effect of it feeling more full and loud, even though it's not. That's what saturation does. So, again, there's a lot of things you can think about there. What else have we got here? So we've got the chords here. I really like this synth patch. Mountainside morning. Welcome to the Wave Racer program. Leon Kudupita, how do you finally decide when a track is done? Like, when do you reach the point when you decide there is no need to keep mixing mastering? That's a hard one. I would say there's a point where I used to approach it like this. I used to say, when I've run out of things to change, that's when it's done. But the thing is, it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Because there are always going to be things you want to change, depending on when you listen to it. What you need to do, I think, is remove yourself from it a little bit and say, this is all, I reckon, like when you're at the point where it's like almost done, you kind of say, okay, there's a list of things I have that I want to fix to finalize this. Let's do that. And then take a step back. And then come back and listen to it and say, okay, do I still like it as much as I did before? If yes, then I reckon it's finished. If not, then maybe you need to go in and tweak some of the final things that you've done. But I find that usually once you've ticked off those final things off the list, if you take a day or so and give it, like sleep on it, come back in the morning and listen again, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, this is having the same emotional impact and this is hitting me in the same way. This song is finished, Why keep changing it if the effect is there? Sometimes doing too much can be detrimental. Subpar Mixtape, thank you for the follow. This synth patch is not analog. No, this is actually a Arturia plugin. Let me see if I can find it. CZ. This one. The CZV. This is not the patch that I use, but it's actually a digital synth. Even like it's modeled off a digital synth too. It sounds very analog. It's a very interesting thing. The CZ line of synths, very good for like brassy stuff. It's a different type of synthesis. I think all the synth layers you're hearing is just multiple layers of that same instrument. Oh, I actually think I did use the Arturia Prophet plugin as well. This was before I had the real Prophet. So you can kind of hear there's more high-end layers of synth coming in. Kendamaya, maybe that's how it's pronounced. Hey man, I was the kendama guy from your music vid. Can't wait for the new album and hope you have tried more kendama tricks. welcome to the stream, Kendama Ya. You should go watch my music video for this song, Look Up to Yourself. And the guy doing the awesome kendama tricks is in the chat right now. Please make him welcome. I cannot say that I own a kendama, therefore I've not really had the chance to... Kendama Ya. Okay, cool. I have not had the chance to practice anymore. But, I mean, I had so much fun doing it on that day. I actually really should buy one because it's such a cool thing. Like, I've had so much fun, like, fiddling with that thing and just, like, trying. I like, they were, like, trying to get me to stop. They were like, okay, cut. And I was like, but I'm having so much fun. Yeah, absolute pog. Guys, I'm vegan. Do you have any tips for an artist who really just enjoys being in the studio and not on social media all the time, etc.? I found it hard to post content on socials with such... and being with lockdown, etc. for over 300 days. Dude, 100 million% I'm in the same boat as you. I actually have found it increasingly anxiety-inducing. I found it's about balance because the reality is if you're an artist, you do have to get the word out about your music and you do have to have a bit of a... I find that you do kind of have to have a bit of a personality behind what you're doing. And I learned that the hard way. But... yeah, look, I mean, I would say that you should only be getting on social media and promoting the stuff that you really feel confident about. If you're not feeling inspired or confident or whatever, don't worry about it because that's like, it'll just come across as being fake. You know, it needs to be genuine. Yeah, but it's a hard thing, man. Like I find it very difficult to find the right way to communicate messages on social media and to, you know, I don't want to feign enthusiasm, but also if I'm feeling shitty a day, I don't want to like put shitty vibes out there either. So it's a hard balance to strike. And I find that sometimes it's better just to take a step back and just come back at a later time. Luckily I have a team of people who help with stuff. Like I have managers and stuff who help me like create social media assets and like give me a bit of a schedule and a timeline to work towards and things like that, which is helpful. But sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm not posting today. I can't be bothered. I don't have the right mindset or the right tone of voice to, that's not literal tone of voice, but you know, figurative tone of voice to communicate with an audience today. So I'm not even going to bother. It's addicting for sure. They're only $20 or so for a standard one. I'll check out the new vid tonight. Nice. Yeah, you won't be able to find the new vid, right now because I'm just going to fix the volume level of it. But yes, it'll be up tonight. I really like the drums in this song. So this is actually a real live drum kit. Not like, I didn't actually use a real drum kit. I used Superior Drummer 3, which is drum software, but it's samples and recordings of real drums. But then I've layered sub bass onto the kick. And I think I also layered some sample behind the snare as well. So it's basically reinforced by electronic samples. And we've got this other layer of drums here. Yeah, again, kind of separated the high-end percussion out. So this is shakers and like hand percussion and stuff. Some little electronic samples. I like to separate the drums into like the body of the drums and then the sort of light high-end drums. It's a dense percussion layers here. Very dense. I like the chord progression a lot. Yeah, Superior Drummer 3 is expensive. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but the thing is, it's basically like paying for every drum kit you could ever want, plus plus a professional drum engineer studio, plus all the microphones, plus this like room space, plus like every effect you could ever want. So it's kind of like a complete drum studio. There's a bit of a learning curve to about knowing how to use it, because it's got like the whole like drum bleed between microphones and like all that kind of thing. It's like miking up a real drum kit, but it's not one drum kit. It's like 20 drum kits. Do you use return tracks for reverb or echo? I certainly do. There's a bunch of that in this. You can actually, sometimes it's even separated out in the stems, but sometimes I'll also do that thing you can do in Ableton where you'll like put a parallel layer on the track, so you can like make a kind of like this. I'll just show you. You can go audio effect rack. So a rack like that just means you can have multiple effects in there, and then you create two chains. So you've got one dry chain and then one effect chain, and then you can put like you can put like a delay or a reverb on the effect chain, and then you can use this mix to like adjust how much of the effect you want, kind of thing. So you can keep your dry signal clean and then your effect signal here, and you can put multiple effects. You can put reverbs and whatever else you want, blah blah blah. So yeah, that's a similar way of doing it. Like it's kind of like a parallel. The only difference then is you don't have the ability to send multiple taps of audio to it. That's just a one dedicated parallel chain. But no, I do use returns for echoes and stuff all the time, especially for vocals, because I like to be able to like sort of automate how much you're sending to it, and then also be able to send multiple layers of stuff to the same effect to give a sense of space. Is that an actual bass or a synth? This song is an actual bass guitar. It's my jazz bass. I need good drums, but I'm poor. Pain. Same. I don't have the space or the money for real drums. So Superior Drummer it is. Some cool little effects layers here. Sweeps. Little noise laser. Pew, pew. Vibra-slap. It's fun. Yeah, I really like all the percussion in this. There's a lot going on here, to be honest. It's probably just like Latin percussion samples programmed in Ableton, but very effective. Some weird claps and stuff. I think because the real drum layer sounds so lively. Is that a laser beam sound? Is that laser beam sound something you synthesized or a sample? I synthesized that. It's basically just like a white noise oscillator with like a sharp filter sweep on it. Is that Vibra-slap from a sample or recording? That's Ableton Latin percussion sample. So if you have Ableton, the Latin percussion sound library, that's from there.
If you just look up to yourself.
Cool. Let's have a look at the... Wait, did we cover the chords? Yeah, we did. So obviously the programming of the chords is quite percussive, staccato. That kind of helps carry the energy as well, more so than the actual sound processing itself. Been using that Latin percussion pack a lot ever since you recommended it in a previous stream. Yeah, it's awesome. I love the sounds in that pack. Just very nice human sounding percussion, very textural. So yeah, there's a bunch of guitar layers here. So yeah, there's like 5 or 6 layers of guitar there. This is like a palm muted thing, double tracked left and right. Just kind of playing the root note of the song. Basically that note is in every, that note works in every chord of the progression, so it kind of just helps drive the song along. distortion. Just basically a little embellished turnaround there. Palm muting comes back here. I used a lot of little embellishments, so I basically put a bunch of distortion on and then kind of just went crazy for a few takes. And then took my favorite parts and just like threw them throughout the song. Even little just like things like that. They kind of just appear throughout the song. Little solo things. And then the solo is really fun. So that's like fuzz plus phaser. Plus I think I then distorted it again in Ableton. So kind of distorting on the way in, then like processing, EQing, shaping, and then maybe doing another sort of pass of like more saturation. Makes it really sort of bright and sharp sounding. Do you think about harmonies over that lead line, then decide against it? Yes. I'm pretty sure I did. It kind of is begging for harmonies, isn't it? I think I probably tried it and then found that I didn't like how it sounded, so I took it out. We're actually layering some synth, playing the same line here. And some less dirty guitar as well, so kind of just filtering all that into this sort of textured, kind of transforming the guitar solo into something else.
You won't have
before the chorus returns.
to yourself, to look up to yourself.
Okay, we haven't looked at these synth chords yet. Oh, okay, this is another layer of chords and stuff. I think this is just like some serum stuff. Distorted serum. Yeah, I think definitely programmed digital synths here. And then combine that with... Oh, this is cool actually, I forgot about that. I love that little melody embellishment. Because it's like, look up to yourself.
How to look up to yourself.
Works really well there.
How to look up to yourself. Even when the going gets tough, we'll be looking up again soon enough.
I like that. Bop, 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 bop. I'm loving it. Again, just some like serum, just sort of driving that chord turnaround there. I think the reverb that I've got on here does a lot too. Yeah, subliminal advertising. I'm just kidding. I don't eat McDonald's. So yeah, the chords change there. like to throw in little like one-off chord changes that don't appear in other sections of the song, but kind of give you a reason to stay interested.
'Cause everybody's looking for something to believe in, but looks can be deceiving. You won't ever know how much everything was.
Let's have a listen to the vocals, shall we? What else have we not covered? Oh, we didn't quite finish the guitar layers. Oh yeah, that we did. That's just the same sort of distorted sound. Doing some stuff at the end there. Yeah, there's quite a lot of guitar layers here. But yeah, let's go on to the vocals. So we'll bring the backing vocals down here. We've got our lead vocal, our backing vocal, our vocal effects. Oh, I also have this group here, which is just the all the drum layers. This drum stem, I've just had that all separated out too. So you've got the snare, the kick. So that's the electronic samples right there, you can hear. And then there's the kit. And you can hear I've taken a lot of the low end out of the kit because I've got the low end coming in with this sample here. Some shakers, cymbals. And I've got, I guess, the cymbals on a separate layer.
You won't ever.
So yeah, same thing, just separate. You can get a closer look and all the different drum layers going here. Just Henry asks another random question about what mic do you use to record vocals? That is not a random question. That's a perfectly valid question. A lot of people, a lot of the sound of the vocal that you're hearing in a lot of songs is highly dependent on the microphone they're using. It's behind me right now. It's the, you know what? I'll just go grab it. This is it. It's the Rode K2. So Rode, great microphone brand. This is the K2. Apparently Kevin Parker from Tame Impala also uses this to record some drums sometimes. I heard that somewhere. But yeah, I use it as a vocal mic. I love the way for me, I mean, there are better mics out there for sure, but I don't have, like, this is a very affordable microphone. I say affordable. It's about $700, $700 to $800. But, most professional mics are in the thousands. So relatively speaking, it's got a tube in it, which means that it has an analog warmth and brightness to it that, other dynamic microphones don't have. Like, for example, this microphone I'm talking into now, this doesn't have tubes in it. It sounds great still, but it's a dynamic mic. This is a condenser microphone, large diaphragm condenser microphone, Rode K2. Yeah, I love how it sounds on my voice. It gives it a really nice sort of sheen. Kind of hard to describe, but it's bright. It's bright sounding, and because I'm quite softly spoken, and because I don't project, it captures detail very nicely for me in a way that I like. But that being said, there's lots of mics that I have not tried because I don't have access to them, so I'm sure there's better ones out there. But it works for now. Let's have a listen to these vocals, shall we?
Even when the going gets tough,
Hey Sparks, what's up? Do you also use that to record things like amps if you record amps for guitar bass? No, I typically don't have a need to, I mean, until recently, I didn't actually have a real amp. I was using the Kemper, which is just direct line out. It's all digital. But there's one song on my album where I use this microphone, the one I'm using right now, for the vocals, because it was more of like I was projecting more with my voice, and this mic works better for loudness. But no, I tend to only use, I'm looking more into recording analog, like recording guitars and stuff with microphones, but I haven't really had much of an opportunity to do that. My space doesn't really lend itself very well to that. So yeah, it's mainly vocals that I'm doing. Wakwan 101, thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely evening or day. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining. How much acoustic treatment do you have going on in your room to record your vocals? Not much. I've literally just got some shitty like foam panels on the walls, but this room is not a good room for recording, unfortunately. I wish I had a better treated room, and like this is just a spare bedroom in my apartment. This is not a studio room. But you know, I do my best. I try to remove as many of the reflections as I can using these foam panels, but it does a little, but not much. What mic am I using right now, just for speaking? This is a Shure SM7B. It's like the quintessential podcasting microphone. Yeah, Shure SM7B. I am running it through a DBX preamp too, but that doesn't really... just kind of keeping the levels in check. How do you choose which artists to work with? How do they reach out to you? If I really want to work with someone, I'll reach out to them myself and see how it goes. But often like my publishing team or my management team will help find some people to, you know, kind of help with like collaborating. There's like A&R is like a kind of profession nowadays where it's like you help your artists find personnel to work with. So that means like they'll recommend artists to be like, oh, these people are in the area. How do you feel about working with them, or like doing a session with them or whatever? Or maybe they'll be like, oh, do you want to send this person a beat to see if they come up with any ideas? So it's a lot of the time I'm relying on like my managers and publishers to help find people. But that being said, I'm not a very collabby kind of guy, in all honesty. I just like doing stuff myself for now. That being said, sometimes you do need external input. Sometimes you do need help, and I'm very open to that. But I generally maybe like that later in the process, like rather than starting from scratch on an idea. Like I like to come to people with an already kind of established idea and say, do you have any additional ideas that you can add to this kind of thing? Because then I have a bit more of an established tone and vibe that I can bring to them. Red Crab, Blue Crab, thank you for the follow. Apparently the SM7B is good mic to use to record amps and cabs. Yes, it is. It is, and I've given it a go. It does sound good. Sounds good on amps. So yeah, we've got our dry vocal.
Even when the going gets tough.
And our backing vocals. Just like the last song, we've got our vocal effects separated into a different stem here. So you can hear the reverbs and delays there. There's also like chorusing and doubling and stuff.
If you just look up to yourself.
So this backing, so this lead vocal is actually just the center dry lead vocal. There's actually a lot of doubling of the vocals, which you'll hear in the backing vocal track right now. You can hear the wide doubles of the vocals.
You won't ever know how much everything will suck if you give yourself up. Learn how to look up to yourself. You won't ever know how much everything will suck if you give yourself up. Learn how to look up to yourself. And even when the going gets tough, we'll be looking up again soon enough. If you just look up to yourself.
So that's all the dry vocals.
You won't ever know how much everything will suck if you give yourself up. Learn how to look up to yourself. And even when the going gets tough, we'll be looking up again soon enough. If you just look up to yourself. You won't know how much.
And then let's bring in the effects too. This kind of gives the the sense of space.
'Cause everybody's looking for something to believe in, but looks can be deceiving.
And there is a lot of like echo throws here. So basically automating the vocal to be sent to a delay or an echo. There's a lot of that going on here to fill the gaps between the vocal phrases, which is a nice trick that I've been using recently.
To yourself,
You can kind of hear the tails of
look
it.
up to yourself. And even when the going gets tough, we'll be looking up again soon enough. If you just look up
Like you hear that?
enough,
Soon enough.
again soon enough. If you just look up to yourself, you won't ever know how much everything will suck if you give yourself up. Learn how to look up to yourself. Maybe I'm the reason that I find myself dissatisfied with every aspect of my life, and I'm just waiting for the perfect time.
This bit's cool. I used the feedback of the echo. So I automated the feedback of the echo to go up. So it's basically oscillating back into itself.
Waiting for the perfect time.
That's just Ableton's tape echo.
Just waiting for the perfect time.
Love that effect.
'Cause everybody's looking for something to believe in, but looks can be deceiving. You won't ever know how. To yourself,
So here's the bridge.
it's up to yourself to look up to yourself.
So if I take the effects off,
It's up to yourself.
so that's vocal synth, I think.
It's up to yourself to look up to yourself.
Maybe layered with some real vocals pitched down.
It's up to
There's a lot of synthetic vocal stuff happening here,
look up to yourself.
with flanging and stuff.
You won't ever know how.
Plus big reverb.
It's up to yourself. To look up to yourself. You won't ever know how much everything will suck if you give yourself up. And even when the going gets tough, we'll be looking up again soon enough. If you just
How did I first connect with Porter? He was a fan, and he asked me to do some shows with him. And I think he came to see me play once in San Francisco and sent me a message there. So yeah, he reached out to me. We love him. Mountainside, I've got to stop using vocal auxes with instruments on my aux stems get all mixed. Yeah, I would recommend having separate auxiliary effects for your instruments and for your vocals, because it's nice to have dedicated auxiliaries just for your vocal effects. 3 delays in your mix or only 2? Oh, I can't remember. Probably more than 3. I think there's at least 3. Plus reverbs. So it's good to have it's good to have different delays, like one for your long delays, one for your short delays, and then one for your middle delays. And then same thing for reverbs. Like some engineers will use 3 reverbs and 3 delays and like mix them and match them and all kinds of stuff, maybe the long delay will only come in for like one phrase, but it's still a cool little layer to have. Thank you, Vettel. Album in exactly 1 month. Pre-order now. Del Buster, I like how you play around with the length of the phrases for the vocals, chorus especially. Yeah, I found that to be a really effective way to create catchiness and interest in the song. Like when you're writing songs initially, like when I was first starting, I was like, I need to fill every gap with like a vocal phrase, and I just don't have enough lyrics. But then I was like, oh wait, you can actually like take gaps. You can take breaths. You don't have to fill every single second of every single musical phrase with a new unique idea. Repetition is a legitimizing, as Adam Neely would say, repetition legitimizes, and taking some breathers to let the previous line, have its impact, and using delays to sort of create that sense of space and context helps drive your song. So it's about being selective with how you use the phrases that you have. Do you find yourself using LFO tools ever? Is it different than just volume modulation? I use LFO tool all the time. I use it as like a automatic ducking thing. It's even if I'm not using it as a side chaining tool, like it's just so cool to being able to instantly have volume modulation. But it is just volume. That's how I use it, just as volume modulation generally. It's just a really easy, user-friendly way to do it. Yeah, bridge the gap with effects and textures. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you can't overdo it, obviously. It's about balance. So, guys, I think, look, I'm pretty sure that kind of covers the song. Is there anything that I've missed? Please let me know in the chat. Anything you'd like me to touch on more? You love the bass lick? Yeah. I think the bass was kind of the bass was the first initial thing that I wrote for this song, so it kind of carries the song. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing the bass. It was tedious though. I had to because it was hard to play, I was palm muting. I got the timing was very sloppy, so I had to edit the timing pretty furiously to make it all line up with the drums. So it didn't. But before I do go, let's see if there's anyone we can raid. What do you guys think? We can raid. Could raid Brownies and Lemonade. Could raid Knowledge. Could raid T-Pain. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you next time. Look, this is a celebration. We're gonna do more streams leading up to the album, and I do have something special planned for we're getting together some special plans for an album release stream. So, eyes peeled for that. As always, it's really good to be speaking to you. Really good to be on the stream, communicating with you all. And join the Discord if you haven't. Do the ! Discord thingy to see the Here, I'll do it. If you want to keep, stay connected, etc. And of course, if you're interested in ordering my album, oops, I typed it wrong. You can order my album too. Oh, that's right. Actually, you know what? Before I go, we're going to look at what's available to pre-order. This will only take a couple minutes. So here's my website, by the way, waveracer.band. Very basic, but here, if you click this, look at this. There's merch. And there's albums. What the hell? This could be you. All right, so obviously, you can order my album on vinyl. There's the track list there. This is my first, this is a full-on 12-inch, full-on vinyl, full-length vinyl album on blue vinyl. I'll be hopefully getting my my test pressing of this week. That's what I've been told. Very much looking forward to that. Now, you can buy, obviously there's different bundles available. If you just want the album, you can just buy the album. And it's available on vinyl or digital, whatever you want. You can get it either way. But you can also get it with socks and t-shirts and stickers and a vinyl slip mat and guitar picks and stuff like that. Look at everything. We've got a shirt here. Long sleeve shirt. Short sleeve t-shirt. Will your album have a digital release, MP3 or FLAC? Of course, it'll be released digitally. I don't know the exact file format, but it'll be full quality. Socks, pretty freaking cool. White socks, damn. These stickers, and I can have it on good authority that these are going to be big stickers. If you imagine those stickers fitting on an A4 sheet, so we're talking pretty sizable stickers. That's a guitar pick. Should have some real life photographs of that soon. So this is everything, and of course this is just if you want to buy them all in this big bundle, you can do that. But then there's also different, you can just get the vinyl slip mat if you want, or you can just get the album, or you can just get the t-shirt or just the socks. All of them come with an album though, so no matter which one you get, you'll be getting the album. So yeah, pretty cool. I reckon my favorite is probably the green t-shirt. I really like this. I think the white t-shirt's cool too. I can't wait to see him in real life. I haven't received my my copies yet, unfortunately. But yeah, there it is, guys. That could be you. These items could be yours. So yeah, let me know if you guys order, if you guys buy a copy. It obviously supports me, means a lot, and I just can't wait for you guys. Oh, the other thing is, I forgot to mention. I'll talk more about this at another time, but if you enter, you enter into a competition to win a one-on-one music production workshop with yours truly. Basically, what that means is, if you are interested, you can win a essentially one-on-one studio time with me. Like, I can teach you, like the kind of stuff that I teach on stream, but like whatever you want. Like, it'll be one-on-one. So you can ask me anything you want and I'll just like answer your questions, and we can go over like production techniques that I use, actual recording techniques. And yeah, that could be yours. That time could be yours to have with me, simply by buying an album. So yeah, that's about that about covers the stream today, guys. Thank you again. And we will hopefully see you again within the next couple of weeks. And then, guys, it's only 1 month till the album. And we've got some special stuff planned for that. So please stay tuned. And thank you again for watching. And we'll see you guys next time. Let's do a raid. Let's raid brownies and lemonade, yeah? Why not? Cool. Have fun, guys. Have a lovely day. See ya.